So, hello everybody. Welcome back to another live stream. I'm a little bit late today because I had some technical issues setting up this live stream. Apologies for that. I hope everything is working out fine now. Let's get quickly to business. We had news already. So we had high impact news today on Tuesday. We had at 4 p.m. Austrian time, but 10 a.m. New York time we had ISM service PMI, and we can see that we had displacement to the upside already. Let me just quickly check if we are in fact live. Just want to make sure that everything is working out fine. That looks good, great. And just give me a second. My computer is lacking today. That's a little bit annoying, but what can I do? All right, let's start with our analysis. We have some annotations from yesterday which are not relevant anymore. I'm going to remove them. You can see that we have swept these equal highs here where buy side liquidity resides, and we have traded into this 15-minute fair value gap. Let me start with the higher time frame, with the daily chart. So we have reached a higher time frame target and retraced yesterday. So let's see if we can hold ground and go back up again, or if we break market structure at some point and go lower. And you can see that we are also back in this 4-hour gap. Price is pretty choppy at the moment. We're pretty much in consolidation with slightly higher prices still, but we can see that a lot of highs and lows are swept. High taken, low taken, high taken, low taken, high taken, now lows being taken again. So we have to be trading in consolidation mode. We need to be very nimble, and we should not expect huge continuations. We should take profits and be very careful after significant highs are taken. So we have taken buy side liquidity here, and we are back into this 15-minute range. Let's start with our annotations. Here, very nice that our analysis from yesterday panned out. We were looking to take out this high, and we did this handsomely. And again, I was outlining this mean threshold of this last up close candle, this bullish order block, and I told you that I'm looking if we are showing support here or if we're showing resistance here. And we traded through a little bit, but eventually we couldn't go any lower yesterday, and we had a retracement back up, and this acted as support. So very nice to see how price reacts at these points. And we can remove I'm going to remove this draw now, and also the liquidity from yesterday. I'm removing this, but I'm showing you where the liquidity still resides for today's session. So what we have here is sell side liquidity below these equal lows. We have a low here, another attempt here was taken shallowly here, and we still have these lows in place. So these are relative equal highs. Sell side liquidity is below these lows, obviously. Let's annotate it quickly. And we still have the buy side liquidity here was taken. So the highs here got swept. So what I'm observing now is if this was a stop run and we retrace lower, or if we can hold ground here and go higher and take out buy side liquidity again. So buy side liquidity from yesterday still resides up here. We have buy side liquidity above these highs here. And we have buy side liquidity very shallowly taken out just here. So at the moment we are in consolidation here. So at the moment, right as we see the chart here, it's very hard for me to determine where we are likely going next, because we have this price swing here, and we are, in my opinion, we are still in consolidation. We have this swing high here at 9:45 from yesterday, to this low here from yesterday 11 o'clock or 10:45. This is the range we're currently in. You can see that we have swept highs and lows, but we are not significantly broken this range. So in my opinion, we need to see displacement first before I can determine a new direction. But this is a pretty large consolidation, to be honest. However, we swept the high again here, so I think if we do not resume higher here, the sell side liquidity is the most likely drawn liquidity, but it doesn't need to continue here. It probably just sweeps it here. However, it's basically guesswork. I'm not really sure at this point what the session bias is. We have taken out this high here shallowly, but we could still, everything is still in play that we can reach the buy side liquidity here again and here. So for me, this is a 50-50 scenario at the moment. I have no hard bias until we might see further, until I get further information or confirmation that sell side or buy side is more likely being taken. I will remove this. Everybody can see this high to this low. The consolidation is basically also between this red line and this red line here. So for me, hard to determine. we have rejected this high so far. And the reason why I think the sell side is still more likely is because on the 1 hour chart, we have taken out this high has taken out this high, and I think we still have some more sell side below here. However, we have already taken sell side out yesterday, so it doesn't need to go any lower. It might just stay in this consolidation. This might have been enough at the moment, and we might just take buy side liquidity out again. So for me, it's really hard to give you a high probability scenario at the very moment. And we're exactly, if we measure, you can see it, if we measure the fib from here, from this swing high to this swing low, we have the 50% level here, and we are very close to the 50% level. So that makes it very hard to outline a trade or to take a trade. Also, what I'm thinking is, if we would have a strong bullish bias, we would not have to have this strong rejection. We have reached for the buy side liquidity, and we have strongly rejected here, and we're back to the range. If we would have a bullish bias here, a stronger one with the continuation, we should not have seen this big retracement. We should have swept the highs, we should have consolidated here, we should maybe have a short retracement and then a continuation higher. So this is problematic. This is problematic for a strong bullish bias. So that's why I cannot have a bullish bias. However, we still have sell side liquidity here below. However, we have already taken some sell side liquidity yesterday, and we have taken sell side liquidity here at 8 and 9.15 again. So that's also not very. It's also not a very high probability draw, in my opinion, because we could see higher prices from here as well if we are in a consolidation and if we are in this range here. However, I think, gun to my head, with a very, very, very low probability, I think we might see another sweep of these lows here today. And also notice that this high was not taking out very convincingly. So let's check the price here. High is 4579.75 and the high here is 4579.75. And actually to determine that we're actually in consolidation is very important, because you need to figure out when the high probability trading scenarios are and when low probability trading scenarios are. Not every day we have high probability, and it's not ideal every day to take and every session to take a trade. So far more important than to know when to trade is when not to trade. And today is a perfect example for this. If you have a 50-50 probability that price is going up or down, you better stay on the sidelines until we break the range or we get further information or anything changes that makes price action high probability again. So far, I have no indication what the more probable scenario is. So we are best advised to stay on the sidelines, analyze and see um, if a setup forms at a later time, or just stay on the sidelines and preserve and protect our capital um, and wait for better conditions. That being said, even though we're late on our analysis, I'm not afraid that we're missing something very important here. In the meantime, we can do our daily routine. So what I'm doing is here, I'm switching to regular trading hours, and I'm annotating the gap between Friday and Monday's close and Tuesday's opening at 9:30, and I annotate this gap here because this gap is an area that is very price sensitive. It's an area that usually lends support or resistance to price action, and or is a draw on liquidity or draw on price. So I have annotated the gap here from Monday 10:10 to the opening at 9:30 today, Tuesday. And I've shaded this area here in pink, so we have this on our chart. I switch back now to electronic trading hours. We can see that this gap is gone now because there is trading in New York, for example, electronically, and we can see that we have traded above this gap here, and we have traded back approximately to the mean point and found some short-term support here. So this tends to be a bullish, this is usually a bullish indication. If we trade through this opening range gap, as ICT calls it, if we are bullish, the premium high and the midpoint should be resistance and should lend support to the upside. Let's just determine the midpoint exactly here. So to stay bullish, I want to focus, I don't want price to close below this red line. So I want to price stay above 4567.75. As long as we do this, this is an indication that the buy side is the more likely scenario. What's also interesting, or what I also consider, is that we had with the 10 o'clock news, we had a run up only so far. So usually the initial run up after high impact news is a fake run. So what makes me skeptical about this bullish move so far is that after the news we went straight up, we took the highs out. However, that might be a fake run, because usually with high impact news we see a two-stage event. We see a fake run taking out opposite liquidity, tricking traders that the market is bullish, and then turn to the bearish side, for example, in this case, at a later point in time. So if we would have had an initial move lower, take this sell side liquidity out, I would be more, I would trust the buy side more, because I would have expected the first move down would be the fake run, would have taken out everybody who is long and had their stop below, and also trip traders in that sell short on a breakout here, and then I would trust the subsequent bullish move more. Here we just had an initial run up, so that that makes me a little bit concerned about the bullish move. That's not high probability in my opinion. The initial move up would land well to the, or would support the idea that this could have been a fake run, that we took out liquidity here, and that we will turn to the sell side liquidity at a later point in time. So far this fair value gap here, so this red down close candle with no price action immediately to the left and to the right, this is holding price below, so this lands short-term resistance here so far. And yeah, again, today it's a guessing game. I'm not able to tell you with a great which side I prefer with a high degree of certainty. So we can see now that the price ran up here again, failed at the rejection block, which is the highest, which is the closing and the closing price of this last up close candle on at 10 o'clock, and it seems like we're going lower now. So I think we will go a little bit lower. I think we will break the midpoint here now. I think we will see price go below this midpoint of the opening range gap, and likely maybe go lower to the discount area of our new range opening gap. I think that's a likely scenario. Let me see how many handles we have. Well, it's about 5.5 handles here. The nearest buy side draw is now above this red line here, so this is our first buy side draw. We have very equal highs here, a high here and a high here, so retail traders see this as resistance. Equal highs, they think this is resistance. Price was not able to go lower, so we might see a rate of these stops here as well. Everybody who is short now has their stop above here, and that's why I think at some point in time we could see a sweep of the stops again. Let's annotate. Let me turn off the volume of my computer. Let's annotate the midnight price here as well. Very influential price level is the New York midnight time. So I'm annotating the opening price at midnight New York. That's actually pretty close. And let me annotate the 8:30 price as well, which is also influential. That's here, opening price at 8:30. That's my 8:30 candle here. So let's annotate this as well. So the opening price and the 8:30 price, which is the pre-market open, these prices are very influential, and for me this is an indication for discount and premium. So if I'm long, I'm trying to buy below the 8:30 price or the New York midnight price. If I'm bearish, I try to sell above at or above the midnight price and the 8:30 opening price. Whichever of these two is closer and doesn't and fits better to my analysis and narrative. We have a little bit of flexibility here, and have to consider some other factors here on which price we use here, which area we use for our entry and our setup here. So far very choppy. I'm usually looking for fair value gaps, so inefficiencies in price on the time frames, but there's nothing really jumping to my eye at the moment. We have this 15-minute fair value gap here, so that's a PD array, premium discount array I'm watching as for setups, for entries, for probable entries. We could have taken a short here if we would have had a consolidation and or a bearish bias, which is actually a decent move to the midpoint, so that would have landed almost 10 handles or more than 10 handles, so that could have been a short, but nothing from my liking, nothing I would have taken. we have another fair value gap here. You can see this up close candle from 10 o'clock. We have the next price, the next candle to the left and to the right is here. So we have traded back into it, but so the fair value gap that basically stayed open is here from the 4567.5 high to the low of 4568.25. So we can see that price, after it rejected, went back into this gap again and then retraced off this level. So would have also been a potential short-term scalp. 7 handles here, but nothing I would feel comfortable under these market conditions. So when I see that the market conditions are not ideal, when I see that there is a lot of chop, there's a lot of consolidation, there's not a clear, if I don't have a clear target, not a clear run on buy side liquidity, I don't like to take those setups, because you can easily be burned. The market is not respecting the premium discount levels as well these days. So I prefer to stay out or wait till I get a setup that I feel more comfortable with. So again, in this consolidation profile, in theory, we could have taken 2 trades that I see. We could have taken a short here at this buy side after taking out the buy side liquidity here in this fair value gap, and short to the midpoint of this opening range gap. However, I probably would have not taken this trade, to be honest, and later on we could have traded the drop into this fair value gap here, shaded here on the 5-minute chart, for a short retracement to the premium level of this opening range gap, for example. So just a scalp here of let's say like 5 handles approximately. Let's annotate it here. So what we could have taken, if we would be brave, we could have taken, the stop would have to be below that red candle. So 4563, and the target would be the high of this opening range gap. So we have that's not really, so we have, I think, a 1-1 risk reward ratio. So that would be a 1-1 scalp here, 5 handles risk, 5 handles profit. So not really a trade I would have felt comfortable with. However, in theory and hindsight, I can see that one. And another theoretical short entry we could have taken so far would be the short after hitting this fair value gap to the midpoint of our opening range gap, shaded with the red area here, and our stop would have to be above this high here, so above this high at 4588.25. So that's also basically a 1. That's a 1-1 trade as well. 10 handles risk, that's too much for my liking, and the 10 handles profit, so also with the mindset that we are in consolidation, but not the best trade either, in my opinion. So what I'm watching now is how we close at this wicks here. So I will measure the wicks here, and I want to see if the bodies close above the midpoint of these wicks here, because that's another indication that we might want to go higher. So this wick, for example, at the 10-15 candle here, we will measure that in a second. And also, let's annotate the session highs and low from yesterday quickly. So we have the yesterday's afternoon session from 1:30 to 4 o'clock New York time. So I annotate the high and the low here, and I will also annotate the session liquidity from 12 to 9:30, the high and the low. So we have the high and the low between 9:30 and 12 o'clock, and this gives us also some more indication about the drawn liquidity, because the market likes to go back to these previous days session highs and lows and take out the liquidity depending on the bias and on the market profile. So we can see that we have almost, or basically taken out the previous session highs here from yesterday, and not convincingly. We didn't really take them out. It's just basically the same price, and we have taken out the low of yesterday's PM session so far. We have not taken out the low of yesterday's AM session. So liquidity still resides below this low here. So that's an area that we need to watch, where price might want to come back into and take out the liquidity here. And also on the buy side, that's not a convincing run on liquidity either, so we might also see a higher sweep above these liquidity above this liquidity target here. And given the current price action, I'm not really convinced which side we will see taken out first, because that's what we need to take a trade. We need to know which side is more likely to be taken out and which one is the one being taken out first. And this is problematic for me at the moment. What gives me further indication is how price closes around the wick here. So what I'm measuring is the wick of the 10-15 candle here, and I will give you the midpoint. Here we have the midpoint, this red line. And what I'm watching is if this candle now closes above the red line. If we close above the red line, it is likely that we continue higher and take this high out first. So we have 45 seconds left. So it will be interesting to see if we can close above here. At the moment, it looks like it. Looks like we do. I just remembered that I forgot to post the link on our Mint Market X account. And if you're interested in, if you like what we're doing, if you're interested in the streams, in the live analysis, live trade examples, feel free to follow us on X. Would be glad if you follow us. I will share the stream links. Usually we'll try to do it upfront, and I will share trade examples live and in hindsight, and I will give you updates about what times we're doing something. And I would also be happy if you like it, that you subscribe our Mint Markets channel, Mint Markets FX on YouTube. I will try to be live as during the week from Monday to Friday as often as I can. I will try to stream from 9:45 to 11 o'clock New York time every day, as long as life allows it. I cannot promise, but I will give my best. And yeah, would be cool if you give us a like, a thumbs up, and follow us. And we can see, in the meantime, now we can see that we have closed above. So this is an indication that we move higher, and we can see the next candle already has taken out the high, as I would have expected. So looks like we are going higher now. We are now also at the midpoint of this 15-minute fair value gap. Let's annotate it here. Let's annotate this also really quickly, because if we close above the high, that's further indication that we will go up, that we continue going higher. So, okay, we have seen, you can see how perfectly price has hit the midpoint of our fair value gap here, shaded in pink. And what I'm watching here is if price is able to close here above, or if it stays below, or like with the wick below, because this gives us an indication if we continue higher, or if this stop run was enough and we continue. If this is basically a turtle soup short here, if we have taken out these highs here and retrace back into the range, or even try to take out the sell side liquidity here. So this red line is what I'm watching. This is very informative for our bias and trade probability here. And I'm looking at the 15-minute time frame, at the 5-minute time frame, at the 3-minute time frame, and even at the 1-minute time frame. So we can see that's really beautiful. We can see how the 1-minute time frame has nailed that midpoint of the gap. We can see how manipulated the market is, and that these kind of things are not random, even on the 1-minute chart. So the buy side liquidity is taken here, so I'm moving. The next buy side liquidity is above here, and again, what I'm looking is how we react at this red line here, to see if we have more strength to the upside or if we are likely to go lower. At the moment, it looks like we're going higher. So if we close above this red line, the next target is the upside, is the premium high of this fair value gap. And if we trade through this and have support here, we can likely expect the buy side liquidity here to be taken. And we can also see in this case so far how nice the midpoint of the opening range gap has supported price. So we can, that's what I said at the very beginning of the live stream, that we could expect bullish prices as long as we stay above the midpoint of this opening range gap, and we just wicked into it, and price stayed above the midpoint of this shaded area here, and we can see we had a bullish move since then. So that's very nice to observe. And let's see if we can close above this midpoint. So far, still wicks only. So far, the body's closed exactly at the midpoint. I want to see if we can close above. We have about 10 minutes left in my personal silver bullet trading session. No trade so far. For me, this consolidation is way too choppy, and not willing to risk something here for low probability trades. What I'm looking is if we can close here above, or if we took out the buy side liquidity here above the previous session's highs, respect the midpoint of this gap, and maybe go lower back into the range, or take out even the sell side liquidity. If we retrace, we could focus on the midpoint here, which is basically at the blue line already drawn in the chart here. And if we close above what I think we might have just done, we can expect higher prices. Yeah. We can see that we have closed above the red line. So next target is the 4583.75 premium high of this fair value gap. We can reasonably expect price to hit that. And if we trade through, we can Observe this buy side liquidity here at 4588.75. So in hindsight, I think the best trade would have been the long here. The long here in this fair value gap. With the target of the previous high, if we would have anticipated this run up here, which was not high probability in my opinion. So that would have been in hindsight the best trade probably for today's session. We could have placed our stop here below, we could have entered in this fair value gap here shaded, and we could have targeted the high, which is 10 handles here with a 5 handle stop, so a ratio of about 2. And so far it looks like we're reaching further to the upside. Very choppy price action. I mean, look at that. That looks like a heart attack. It's really hard to trade in these conditions. You need to be very nimble. You need to know what you're doing. If you don't know what you do, you're likely to burn yourself, especially as a new trader or unexperienced trader. In these days, it's better to stay out than to know when the high probability targets are there. And the reason why I didn't enter a trade, or why I didn't really look for a trade today, was because I was not sure if it's more likely that we see the highs are taken out or the lows are taken out from inside this range here. It would have been a guess, a 50-50 guess. But once we saw that the candle close here, it was more likely to anticipate higher prices, and we can still look now if our bullish levels are landing support, or if we see a reversal at some point in time. We have our buy side liquidity here, our sell side liquidity here. we can see how nicely price traded into the midpoint of this opening range gap, found support here, traded through, traded back exactly to the high of this opening range gap again, found support here again, and then resumed higher. Very nice to observe, however, not really a trade entry that I can see that I would have liked to take. And we can see how price closed here. We have not closed above the premium high here yet. If we do close above the premium high here of this 15-minute fair value gap, the probability increases that we take out this high here as well. Can remove that. It's a little bit disturbing here. So our session has officially come to an end. So from now on, I'm not allowed. I cannot take any trade anymore. I cannot enter any trade after 11 o'clock New York time. So the trading session has now officially ended for me. So what I'm looking now is if this midpoint of this fair value gap can hold price above it, if we close above this premium high of this fair value gap. If we do so, I think we could go higher to the buy side, and even if we have a lot of strength today, we could go back into this daily fair value gap at 4597.75 in my opinion. However, that looks very clean, so I think I would not be surprised if we see a sweep of this sell side liquidity at a later point in time below here. But for now, as long proven otherwise, I'm focusing on the buy side liquidity. As long as we do not have a market structure shift here after taking the buy side liquidity out here, I'm focusing on a bullish intraday bias. That can change, of course, as we move along. I think I will close soon here. Again, if you like the analysis, if you like what we're doing, please give us a like, subscribe the YouTube channel. Would be very, very happy about that to help us continue doing the live streams, and make sure to follow us on X if you have, to stay informed about our live stream and what we're doing. So let's see how we close here. In the 5-minute candle, we have 45 seconds left. It looks as if we close above this fair value gap as well. We haven't closed on the 3-minute. We have kind of closed above the high here on the 1-minute. Higher probability for me would be with the 5-minute. All right, guys, I hope you liked the video. The session has come to an end for today. I will try to be back tomorrow at the same time. I will let you know on X, and would be glad to see you. And I wish you a good afternoon and a good day wherever you are. See you next time. Bye bye.